We are required, right, to have insurance for our vehicles, but making sure you have the adequate coverage. My sister and I were joking the other day because it was snowing, and she's like, somebody just messaged me that I need to stay off the road because this is not weather for people that only have liability insurance.
When it comes to finances, there's obviously plenty of things we all need to be thinking about.
Yes.
At all times, right? We know that. That's why we have Mountain America to lean on to help with that. But I'm excited today because we're going to talk about things that we are likely forgetting or ignoring when it comes to our finances.
Of course. One thing that I would like to start off mentioning is that I love that we are doing this at the beginning of the year because, as the saying goes, new year, new you. So we have a lot of tips to share with you guys today.
Awesome. And it's a new day too. So
exactly.
New day, new you, new hour, new you. Here we go. Right. So the first one that we have it listed here as an area that most of us are likely ignoring is risk reduction.
Yes.
So tell me more about this.
Yes. Risk reduction. Basically what we're trying to get across here is that risk reduction, there's a lot of different types of insurances that you can get.
Okay.
However, why should we even have these types of different insurances? The reason for that is because it's going to mitigate the risk of you having to pay a lot of these things out of pocket.
Okay.
Correct?
Yeah.
The first one is life and disability insurance.
Okay.
One of the first things I want to mention is if you don't have it, get it as soon as possible. However, one thing to note is having insurance through life and disability insurance through your employer is a good idea. But have you thought about what would happen if you part ways with the organization?
Yeah.
That life insurance won't necessarily leave with you. So what we would recommend in this situation is purchase life insurance through a third party. Because if you part ways with the organization, you will still have life and disability insurance as long as you continue to pay the premiums.
Okay.
Additionally, it is important to note if, let's say, you do leave the organization. A lot of people may argue, well, I could get another job and purchase a new policy. And that is right. That is correct. But have you thought about the next few things, which is, well, what if you become sick and you have to part ways with the organization because you're no longer able to work, therefore no longer able to get a new job and purchase another life insurance policy? Or if you become sick or you develop some type of health illness that you're not able to purchase life insurance. Because remember, some life insurances do require that you do a medical exam before they even approve you. So that's another important thing to note.
Okay. So even if our employer offers life insurance, always be thinking about, hey, let's have it somewhere else too.
Yes.
And that goes for disability as well.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. 100%.
Okay. Yeah. And I love that because to your point, right? We can't predict what's going to happen. If we could, we wouldn't have need for insurance, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. So in addition to life and disability coverage, what else do we need to be thinking about when it comes to risk?
Yes. Another thing is homeowners policy, homeowners insurance policy. Oftentimes, these are always required if we have an outstanding mortgage.
Right.
However, it is important to also ask those other questions, meaning, well, what other insurance policy or insurance coverage can I have? For example, sewer backup. Right? We don't often think about this, but the sewer backup, I mean, what happens if something happens to our home and it's flooded, and some life or some homeowners policies may or may not cover that, but that could be as an additional coverage that you purchase for your homeowners policy.
Okay.
Another really good tip that I like to mention is, for example, after Christmas, right? You've either purchased some new things or you've been gifted some really nice things. Take a camera, and it could honestly be like a tablet or your phone. Take your phone and record all like the important, valuable items that you have in your home, like the big ticket items. Okay. And what you're going to do is you're going to record, and you're going to make sure that you're capturing, for example, like identifying information. So, serial numbers, make, models, right, of like your dishwasher or your washer and dryer. And then we're going to upload that video to a cloud drive. Should something happen to our home where we need to file a claim, we have the proof that the insurance company is going to ask us for.
Oh my goodness. So I need to walk through my house and take a video of everything.
Yes.
Because, under those policies, it's like, no, everything in your home is covered, right? Like, I've heard even like big jewelry items could be. I don't have nice jewelry, but people that do, like, those are included. But how do you know what they are if they're not recorded? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Exactly. So that's why we recommend video instead of a picture. Because, yes, a picture can mean 1,000 words, right? But not necessarily to the insurance company. So that's when the video comes in handy.
Okay. So if any of us have not taken a tour of our house and walked through with a video, something that we all can do right now.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. And save it on the cloud. I love that.
Yes. Save it on the cloud. Because if something happens to where you
and
have
we lose our phone.
We lose it. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So somewhere where you can access it at any given time, at any given point.
Okay. Awesome. I love that tip. That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. What else do we need to be thinking about?
Umbrella insurance.
Okay.
Umbrella insurance. And I remember when I was talking to my boss about umbrella insurance, she would always go like this. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, umbrella insurance. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, okay, thank you for the visual. But she's right. I mean, umbrella insurance creates that umbrella from your other policies. For example, let's say you are in an auto accident, right? You have the coverage, you have insurance, liability, everything. But you have to, let's say you're responsible for $450,000 in damages and everything after this accident. Your policy, your auto coverage will cover up to, let's say, $200,000. Where does the other come from? Right? If you didn't have umbrella insurance, then it would unfortunately have to come out of pocket. But if you have umbrella insurance, the umbrella insurance would cover the gap. So the other $200,000 that you would be liable for.
Okay.
Umbrella insurance could be in conjunction with your auto insurance, with your homeowners, and even with your business insurance. So keep that in mind.
Okay. So something to think about if we don't have it, or if we drive a crazy nice car. Or hit someone that does.
Exactly.
Ooh. Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
Okay. So umbrella insurance. What else?
With another thing I like to mention is auto. Oftentimes that we are required, right, to have insurance for our vehicles, but making sure you have the adequate coverage. My sister and I were joking the other day because it was snowing, and she's probably going to hate me for this, but she only had liability. And she's like, guess what? And I was like, what? She's like, somebody just messaged me that I need to stay off the road because this is not weather for people that only have liability insurance. And I was like, oh my God. He's like, yeah, because if you get in an accident, you need to make sure you're fully covered because you never know. So always make sure that you have the adequate coverage, because that is really going to prevent you from being out a lot of money that potentially you would be responsible for.
Yes. And driving conditions. Yes. That's actually really good advice for your sister.
Yes. Yeah. So now she has full coverage.
Good job. Way to go, Talia. That's awesome.
Yes.
Well, hopefully we're helping someone else out there too. Don't drive in the snow, the rain, the sleet, all those things unless you're fully covered.
Especially now because it's like raining or it's snowing. The snow melts away, but then 2 days then we have more snow. So
yes, and
we never know, especially in Utah.
Yeah, exactly. All the places, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Tell me about student loan insurance.
Yes.
What is this?
Yes. So it's not necessarily student loan insurance, but one thing that we recommend, so I'm going to go back a little bit to life and disability insurance. Okay. One thing that we recommend is, for example, if you signed as a co-signer with, let's say, one of your kiddos, you sign as a co-signer, now you have a student loan. One thing that you want to do is make sure that you have life insurance or that the student also has life insurance. Why? Because should something happen to, let's say, the student, right, that's going to school, now, unfortunately, you don't have the student anymore, but now you do have this student loan that has to be paid. So what we recommend is getting life insurance for the student and or for yourself. So if something happens, those life insurance policies would be able to pay off those student loans. Keep in mind, even if you file bankruptcy or after death, student loans don't always get wiped out or forgiven.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, this is why we recommend the life insurance on the
yeah.
student or on yourself if you have signed as a co-signer.
Okay, that's great advice because, talk about adding insult to injury.
Yeah.
If, you lose your child and you still have to pay their student loan off. Yeah,
exactly.
we don't want that.
Yeah, that's the worst.
So make sure to have life insurance for both of you.
Yes.
Okay, in that case. That's awesome advice. Love that. Love that. Okay, anything else under risk reduction we need to be worried about?
I think we have it covered.
Okay, that's a lot, but really good.
It really is a lot.
So we've covered everything we need to regarding risk reduction, which a lot of really good information, right? I mean, just to sum it up, take that video of your home, make sure you're properly covered with all the different types of insurance. But especially if you own a business, that umbrella seems to be really important.
Absolutely. That is definitely going to mitigate that risk.
Yeah. So coming off of risk reduction, we're going to talk about estate planning.
Yes.
So tell me what we need to know.
Yes. So with estate planning, there's a few things to keep in mind. There's wills, trust, medical directives, and POAs, power of attorneys.
Yeah.
Let's start with wills. With wills, this is a legal document, so keep that in mind. You can draft this online on your own, but keep in mind, you do get what you pay for. So unfortunately, what that can translate to is you may inadvertently miss to include something, which can later cost your descendants a lot of money and time. But one thing to keep in mind with wills is these only take effect after you die. So make sure it is well written. Make sure it covers everything that you want to cover. This will be or can include the distribution of your assets, of your property. If you have minor children, who gets to help take care of the children. So it's very important that you keep that in mind. It only will take effect after you die. And another word for will that I've heard is testament. A lot of people use that word as well.
Okay.
It means the same thing. And then we have trusts. A trust is also another legal document. And my recommendation with all types of legal documents is just seek professional help, which means having an attorney or a lawyer help you draft this.
Okay.
With trusts, though, there are different types of trusts. So it's important that you really do the research into each different type of trust to ensure that you have the trust that best fits your situation or needs.
Okay, love it. I don't. Every time someone talks about a will or a trust, I always remember, I don't know, all you moms out there, if you can relate to this. Every time you go to deliver a baby, they're like, do you have a living will and a trust? And I'm just like, thank you for reminding me that I might die right now.
Exactly.
Bringing someone into the world, right? But anyways, really important documents to have.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Another thing that I will mention is right on to what you just said, it's important that if you already have these or you plan on getting these drafted, is make sure that you are reviewing it every 3 to 5 years to account for those important life events such as a newborn baby, an adoption, marriage, or unfortunately divorce. So it's important that you are revising them or at least looking at them to ensure that that information is still accurate. Because the last thing you want to happen is you pass away and you forgot to update your trust or your will, and now all of your assets are going to somebody that you haven't even talked to for 3 or 4 years.
So. That would be horrible. Okay, great reminder. Okay, tell me about a medical directive.
Yes, a medical directive is as important because should you become incapacitated, it will give the authorization to your assigned person to make those decisions on your behalf. It is important, it is critical that you name a person that you really trust and that you know will always keep your best interest in mind. Because if you're incapacitated, you can't make decisions for yourself. You need to know, or that person needs to know, okay, what do you want to happen if, let's say, you become brain dead, right?
Yeah.
Do I pull the plug immediately? Do we wait 3 years? I mean, what does that look like for you? What do you want the medical staff? What do you want them to do if you become incapacitated, but you have an assigned person to do this? That is why it's important to ensure you have a medical directive. And a medical directive, it can be included in your trust as well. Like I said, these are all legal documents, but it's important that you have that assigned person.
Okay, awesome. So tell me the difference between medical directive and power of attorney.
So very good question. I like that. With a medical directive, they're only deciding what should happen to you, let's say when you're in the hospital, okay. For example. A power of attorney, this person is going to make decisions on your behalf on more like the day-to-day financial needs. They're going to be, depending on the access that you give this person, they're going to have certain access to pay your bills, for example, to make decisions on your properties, right? They can't do anything crazy like enter a marriage for you or anything like that. But a power of attorney is really helpful, especially if, let's say, you develop or you are more prone to, let's say, a genetic illness that is passed down in your family, let's say dementia. Right?
Yeah.
If that you're kind of more prone to that, you want to have this person that you trust that is going to make those financial decisions on your behalf. There's also different types of power of attorneys.
Okay.
Different types of power of attorney, so make sure that you have the right one that best fits your needs. It is important to know when you pass away, this power of attorney is no longer in effect. So it is important to understand who you're setting up as your power of attorney, and also if you want to grant them more access, right, including them in your trust and in your will and things like that. So they're able to make financial decisions even after you pass away.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. Anything else we need to know regarding estate planning?
No, I think we covered it.
Okay.
I know it's a lot, but
It is a lot. It is a lot, but really important things,
Yes.
right? You know, I was actually just chatting with some of my friends over the weekend, and they're like, hey, my husband came to me and he's like, why don't we have a will? We need to have a trust. Like, why don't we have any of these things set up?
Exactly.
And I was like, yeah, how could you not? Like, they ask you that every time you deliver a child. You know, come on, get on the bandwagon, you guys. Get your wills and your trusts.
Exactly.
I love it. So we're going to make a huge jump from wills and trusts to managing our passwords.
Oh my
Why
gosh,
is this
yes.
something that
Yes.
all of us are not thinking about?
Yes. So first, I want to start off with that nowadays, almost everything is online.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No.
Exactly. No. Okay, so almost everything is online, which means you're either having to write down your passwords somewhere, or you have a really good memory and you just remember all of your passwords.
Right.
Okay.
Or you're really bad in using the same one on multiple places.
There we
right?
go. Yes,
Yeah,
that too. So what this password manager can do, it will add that extra security that we need when we're shopping or doing anything online. Why? Because it is like a password vault. So it creates additional cyber security, but then we don't have to memorize our passwords. It gives us the ease of like autofilling our passwords for us if we're on a trusted device, as well as it helps us come up with more complex passwords. So we're not setting up the same password for all of our online access. So that's why it's important that we have some sort of password manager. And there's a ton out there. There's like Google Password Manager, LastPass. That's the one I use and prefer. But there's others as well that do the same thing. And additionally, with those password managers, you're not only able to save password information, but you're also able to save, for example, important notes or important bank information, as well as your card information, right?
Okay.
So it's important that you know it's not only for password, but you can also store all of these other things and have that extra security.
Okay.
Oftentimes, a lot of them offer the two-factor authenticator, which is just two different ways, which sometimes could be annoying because we're like logging in, we're like, yes, it's me, and then they have to send you a text message or an email. But keep in mind, it is creating that additional security to make it that much harder if somebody tries to steal your information.
Yeah, I love that. I know the two-factor authentication can seem like a pain, but
Yeah.
I would much rather go through that than have,
Exactly.
something compromised that we don't want to be. So,
Yes.
yeah, really
Yes.
good advice. Okay.
Absolutely.
Anything else we need to know about Password Manager?
Nope. Just remember, it creates that peace of mind and it helps you store all your passwords so you don't have to do basically any work.
Okay.
It does it for you.
Okay, love it. So moving on, tell me what you mean by savings rate.
savings
How
rate.
is this something we're ignoring?
Yeah, especially with this current environment of inflation,
Yes.
we do not need to be ignoring it right now. Why? Because what we mean by savings rate is, let me give you an example. Let's say you're bringing home, I don't know, $3,000 a month.
Okay.
And you're saving $500. That's awesome. That's fantastic. But then let's say you get a nice merit increase, right? Now you're making a little bit more money. Now let's say you're making $3,500. But you're still saving $500. That's what we mean by savings rate, is if you get any type of bonus or merit increase, making sure that you're saving intentionally. Not all of that has to be what I call play money. Increase, this is all going to my play money.
Yes, I got my bonus. Now I can put in my pool.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Yes, making sure that as you're continuing to, let's say, increase your net worth, that your savings is also increasing, especially right now with the market that we have on like just homes.
Right.
The prices on homes are all the way over here. That's good for homeowners because that means that their homes are valued more.
Yeah, our net worth is increasing.
Yes, our net worth is increasing. But that's just with the current market. It doesn't necessarily mean we did something right.
That's true.
But what we can do right is making sure that we're increasing the amount that we're saving, meaning increasing our savings rate. Because let me give you another example. What we used to pay or what we used to buy at the grocery stores with $100 5 years ago is nowhere what we can buy with $100 now. That's kind of the same concept, is make your money work for you by increasing your savings rate.
Okay. So make sure as we're getting maybe those annual increases or bonuses that we're taking into account, hey, we should be saving more.